I did all the research before we moved to Cape Coral. Watched every video, read every article, talked to people who had already made the move down here, and I still got caught off guard multiple times in the first few months we were here. Some of it was funny, but some of it cost me money, and none of it was in any video or in any article that I saw beforehand. I'm originally from Denver, Colorado, and if you're coming from somewhere cold like Colorado or Ohio, Michigan, New Jersey, or anywhere that has an actual winter, you probably think the adjustment to Cape Coral is mostly about the weather. You're trading cold, dry air for humidity and heat. What's that old saying? If the heat doesn't get you, the humidity will. You've mentally prepared for that. You know it's going to be different. And here's the thing, you're not wrong. The weather is different. But the weather adjustment is actually the easiest part about the move. You adapt to the warmth fast. What takes longer, though, are the things you never thought to research. The small, daily, practical things that only show up once you're actually living here. The things that actually catch people off guard, regardless of where they're from, have nothing to do with the sunshine or the beach weather. They have to do with the bag of chips on your countertop, your water glass, your car, your back porch, your mental calendar, and eventually a single moment where it just all clicks into place. Hi, I'm Jami Kolev. I'm a real estate agent here in Cape Coral, and my husband Vic and I run the Kolev Group. We're originally from Denver, Colorado, though, and we have made the exact transition, cold, dry mountain state to Southwest Florida. We work with buyers and sellers all over the area, and a huge portion of our clients are just like us, coming from cold weather states, Colorado, Ohio, Michigan, New York, you name it. We've had this conversation more times than I can count, so I'm not guessing at any of this. I've lived it, I've watched it, and I've helped people navigate it. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through 8 things that nobody is going to put in their moving to Cape Coral checklist. These are things that you only learn by actually living here. Some of them are probably going to make you laugh. Some of them will make you add to your to-do list before the move. And by the end of it, you'll have a more honest picture of Cape Coral's daily life. So let's get into it. But real quick, before we dive in, if you're already deep in research mode, we have a free Cape Coral relocation guide. If you have not already grabbed that, head to the description. It is linked below there. It'll give you everything that you need to know before moving to Cape Coral. All right, so let me tell you about a very specific thing that happened to me shortly after we moved to Cape Coral. A few days in, I left a bag of chips open on the counter overnight. I didn't think about it. We did that all the time. One night. Back in Denver, dry mountain air, low humidity, you could leave a bag of chips open for days and they'd be fine. If you're from Ohio or Michigan or anywhere with actual winters, same deal. Dry air helps keep things crisp. Here, I came into the kitchen, grabbed a chip, and it was completely stale. Like, had to throw them out, done one night. And that seems like a really small thing, but it is actually your first introduction into what Florida humidity really does to your daily life. It's not just it kind of feels sticky outside. It physically changes how food behaves, how materials behave, how everything in and around your home functions. So when it comes to the kitchen, chips, crackers, cereal, bread, anything that isn't sealed airtight needs to go into an airtight container or in the fridge. This is just how people live here. So as you're packing up, do an audit of what kind of storage you have for your pantry. And outside, the salt in the ocean air combines with the humidity and everything molds and rusts. Always consistently. So your outdoor furniture, it's going to get mildew on it. Metal railings, the legs of your grill, even your mailbox are going to get rust. Things that lasted decades back at home will start to show wear here within a year or two if they're not rated for coastal environments. Now, this isn't a complaint, it's survival intel. Every single transplant from a cold, dry climate discovers this on their own, usually in some small, frustrating moment like my chips. And now you don't have to, now you know. So buy airtight containers before you unpack your kitchen and just expect the air outside to be humid. Okay, food and furniture, got it. Here's something even more daily that catches almost every cold weather transplant off guard because it's something you've literally never had to think about before. Growing up in Denver, we had incredible tap water. Come on, the Rocky Mountains, we get it straight from the snowmelt, filtered through granite. I drank straight from the tap my entire life, and I never gave it a second thought. And honestly, if you're coming from a lot of cold weather states like Colorado, Michigan, the PNW, you're probably used to that water that just tastes fresh, clean, very neutral. And Cape Coral tap water is safe. I'm not saying that. It meets all EPA standards. It's treated. It is fine to drink. But it has a distinct mineral taste and a slight sulfur note that's very different from what most of us are used to when we're coming from other places, such as up north. Almost every transplant from a cold water state notices it immediately on that first glass. The standard solution here, though, is a reverse osmosis filtration system. So many properties have them, either under the sink or the whole house. It's not necessarily considered a luxury or an upgrade here, it's just what a lot of people do. Prices range from a couple $100s for a basic under the sink unit to a few $1,000s for a whole house. Some homes already have one, so if you're buying, just ask during the inspection. And if you're renting while you look, a countertop Brita-style filter bridges the gap perfectly until you can get things sorted. For our family, we have simply become accustomed to drinking the water that's filtered out of the fridge. Small, easy, and inexpensive to fix. But if nobody tells you that first glass of tap water is its own little welcome to Florida moment, so consider yourself told. All right, humidity and water, we've got that sorted. Here's one that's going to cost you actual money if you don't plan for it. In Colorado, the enemies of outdoor stuff are UV and dryness. Things crack, they fade, they dry out. Here, the enemy is salt in the air. It's invisible and it is relentless. We're close enough to the Gulf that the marine air is a constant presence in Cape Coral, and it does a number on everything that lives outside. Talking your car, your truck, your patio set, your grill, your fence hardware, basically anything that's metal. Things that lasted over a decade in Denver's climate will start showing rust and oxidation here within a couple years if you're not on top of it. So when it comes to your car, regular washes with an undercarriage rinse, even when it doesn't look dirty, can absolutely help. The salt you can't see is still doing its thing. For outdoor furniture, when you replace pieces, just make sure that you're buying things that are specifically rated for coastal or marine environment. Teak, powder-coated aluminum, HDPE resin. So we just recently replaced our fans out on our lanai, and we made sure to upgrade to the coastal rated fans. For any metal fixtures outside, if you can, treat them and then cover them when they're not in use, or just plan to replace them on a shorter cycle than you're used to. Locals know this and we budget for it, but transplants can get blindsided. The good news is you're not going to get blindsided. You're going to build a small annual line item into your home maintenance budget for this, and then enjoy the fact that the reason everything rusts faster is because you live closer to the Gulf. All right, now here's one that's a little bit more fun and honestly pretty liberating once you get past the initial moment of, what do I actually wear now? Because your wardrobe is basically irrelevant. In Denver, my wardrobe was built around layers. I had my ski jacket and I had more hoodies than I ever knew what to do with. And of course, I had snow boots, real snow boots, not fashionable ones. And basically, I lived in hoodies and leggings from October to April or May. And I know if you're coming from Ohio, Michigan, New York, you've got some version of the same thing. Cold weather closets are investments. We earn that gear. And you're going to be just like me. You're going to want to pack some of it, maybe most of it, just in case, or you never know. I might visit again in the winter. And it is going to sit in a box or in the back of your closet, judging you. Every once in a while, around maybe December or January, you'll get to take a jacket out and feel, briefly vindicated for a couple days. But here's the honest play. Before you pack, sort. Donate the heavy stuff or just sell it, because where you're at, there is a good market for cold weather gear. Cape Coral winters are a couple of weeks between December and February usually, and they are genuinely lovely. It is a nice break from the heat. We're usually talking the 50s during the day and maybe into the 40s at night. But this is when I grab my box of hoodies I still have and my leggings. And that's about it. The rest of the year is shorts, breathable fabrics, definitely moisture wicking. And trust me, you do not need that ski jacket. You don't need that parka, and the closet space you free up is absolutely worth it. And I tell you this from experience. We packed boxes and boxes of our cold weather gear, our winter gear when we moved down here. It sat in a closet for 3 years before finally we just donated it. Never once did we open it. So honestly, this one is kind of liberating. Your wardrobe gets simpler, your mornings get faster, and there's something weirdly symbolic about donating the heavy winter gear before the move because it makes it real. Remember, you're not packing for vacation, you are actually doing this. Okay, now here's the one that catches almost every cold weather transplant completely off guard. And it has nothing to do with the weather in the way you'd expect. This one is all psychological. So for me, growing up in Colorado, the seasons were a rhythm. I absolutely loved fall, especially in the mountains. It was just stunning with the aspens turning gold and the air getting crisp, like that true October feeling. I never really was a skier and I don't love the snow, but I loved a good white Christmas. And then after months of snow, spring is like it feels earned. You finally get to change into those shorts and flip-flops. And summers were genuinely beautiful, my favorite time of the year. Warm days, cool nights, no humidity. And I think that no matter where you're coming from, whether that's Colorado like me or Ohio, Michigan, Northeast, anywhere, you've had some version of that. 4 seasons, a built-in calendar. The seasons tell you where you're at in the year. They mark your transitions. They kind of just give you that mental structure that you've operated on your entire life. And then you move to Cape Coral, and there's no winter, which sounds like a pure upside, and we absolutely love it. It most definitely is. But there's a psychological component to this that nobody talks about. Because losing the seasons means losing the calendar rhythm that was quietly organizing your mental life. And I'll tell you, your first December here, Christmas will genuinely feel surreal. It is 80 degrees outside, you're in the pool, there's palm trees with Christmas lights on them. It is beautiful, but it is also deeply disorienting in a way that's really hard to fully anticipate until you're down here. Now, over time, you replace your old seasonal calendar with the Southwest Florida one. I mean, we've got 4 seasons: dry season, wet season, season where the snowbirds arrive and everything gets busier, and of course, hurricane season, and then the quiet relief when that goes away. You build new rhythms, but you have to give yourself a full year to find them. You don't miss winter, but what you do miss is the structure and the feelings that it created. You know, the permission to just kind of cozy up inside. Don't worry, you will build a new version of that here. So before we go any further, if you're really starting to think seriously about what the day-to-day in Cape Coral actually looks like, don't forget we have a free Cape Coral relocation guide linked below in the description. We cover the practical stuff and things that you need to know before you buy. Now let's talk about something that I know is on a lot of people's mind, and I want to give you the real practical version of it, not the dismissal. And that, of course, is the bugs. Now, wherever you're coming from, anywhere around the country, you've dealt with bugs. They're unavoidable. Mosquitoes in the summer, a few ants, maybe the occasional spider. Nothing that changes how you live your life. But Florida bugs are kind of a little bit of a different category. So let me introduce you to 3 that you will see quite often. First of all, we have palmetto bugs. These are basically cockroaches that fly. We've given them a very polite name, but you will not feel polite about them when you encounter one for the first time at 11 p.m. in your kitchen, because some of them can be really large, and then they take off flying. But they are a fact of Florida life. And don't worry, having cockroaches and palmetto bugs around your house doesn't mean you're dirty. It's just something that happens here. I still think they're gross, but it's definitely something I've gotten over. Second, we've got the love bug. Twice a year in the spring and the fall, they appear and they appear in huge numbers and they're always paired together. They are everywhere and they will end up on your car, no doubt. So you will definitely want to make sure that you have that car wash membership queued up. Third, my least favorite of them all, no-see-ums. They are tiny, nearly invisible biting insects, kind of like mosquitoes, that come out near the water at dusk. You will not see them. They're called no-see-ums, but you will feel them. But the playbook here is really simple: quarterly pest control service. It's a very standard thing in Cape Coral for most homeowners to have it on the schedule, the same way they have the pool and their lawn care. It keeps the palmetto bugs outside where they belong and your interior nice and clean for the majority of the time. Now, for no-see-ums at dusk near the water, there's a few different options, of course. You can use DEET or citronella. They even have no-see-um screens for your lanai that are a finer mesh. And for love bugs, again, just plan to wash your car more frequently during their 2-week peak in both the spring and the fall. There's no stopping it, just managing the timing. Every tropical or subtropical climate makes you trade something for the weather, and this is one of those trades. But pest control is pretty inexpensive out here. The protocols are easy, and after a few months, honestly, you just stop thinking about it. But just know it's coming, so it's not a huge surprise. All right, now here's one that I genuinely did not expect, and it turned out to be one of the best parts of the move. When you come from a place where you've lived for years, you have roots. You've got your friend groups, your routines, your favorite coffee shop with your favorite barista, people who know your name. And so making genuine new friends as an adult in an established community takes real time and so much effort. But Cape Coral is structured a little bit differently because almost everyone here is from somewhere else. The entire community is made up of people who moved here, people who also had to build something new, who also went through the adjustment period, who also discovered the stale chip situation on their own. There are no cliques built around decades and decades of shared history. The social fabric is built for newcomers. So when you come down here, join a Facebook group with something that interests you. Show up to community events. If you're into boating, fishing, golf, or pickleball, like Cape Coral has large active communities literally built around all of it. Show up once, introduce yourself, and the door opens fast. We've watched clients move here nervous about kind of starting over socially, and within the first 6 months, they're more active and connected than they have been in years. The shared experience of "I also chose this place" creates a real. And this is the most underrated upside of moving to a high migration city. You're not the outsider. You're part of a community that just keeps growing. And everyone in it remembers what it felt like to be new. And that brings me to the last one. And I saved this one for the end because it's the one that ties everything else together. There's a specific moment that happens, and it's usually somewhere in the first year, where you stop doing the comparison in your head. You stop noticing the humidity versus the dry air. You stop reaching for the jacket because it's 80 degrees outside. You stop being surprised by the beautiful water or the beautiful weather or the bugs. You just live here and it's home. Now, I can't tell you exactly when it's going to happen for you because it is different for everyone, but I can tell you that it does happen. And it's not a small thing when it does. It's a moment where you finally stop being a transplant and you start being a local. The moment where Cape Coral stops being the place you moved to and starts being the place that you're from. So give yourself permission to have the adjustment period. And don't judge the move in month 1. The chips are going to go stale. Something out on the porch is going to rust. Christmas is going to feel a little strange. And let it. That's not the move failing. That is the move starting. And here's what I want to leave you with. Everything I just walked you through sounds on paper like a list of complaints. And I want to tell you something true about all of it. None of it, and I'm talking none of it, makes me want to go back. Not for a single day. The chips go stale faster, the outdoor stuff rusts, the water tastes a little different. I do miss the aspens in October, and Christmas at 80 degrees sometimes still feels weird. But I wake up every single morning in Cape Coral, Florida, and I would not trade it. That's the thing nobody puts in their relocation video. It's not just that it's warm and sunny, it's that when all of it clicks, and it will, this place feels like exactly where you were supposed to be. All right, so let's review what we talked about. Humidity. It's going to change how food and materials behave, so make sure you seal everything and just expect it. The water is not from the Rocky Mountains, but it's an easy fix. Just run water through a filter. The salt air is very hard on your car and outdoor stuff, so make sure that you budget for it. Your cold weather wardrobe can mostly go before you pack. No real winter means a real psychological shift that takes a full year, honestly, to really settle into. Bugs are manageable, just get quarterly pest control. And don't worry about making friends here because it's faster and easier than you'd expect. And somewhere in months 3 to 6, it's all gonna click. So you came into this video probably not knowing what Cape Coral daily life actually feels like. I hope you now have a picture that most transplants don't get until they've been here for months. That was the whole point of this video. And these things, they aren't deal breakers. They're just adjustments. The people who move here and love it are the ones who came in informed, not surprised. And guess what? You're already ahead of the curve. So if you're actively researching this move, don't forget to grab our free Cape Coral relocation guide. It's linked below in the description. And if you're ready to have an actual conversation about making this move happen, reach out to us directly. We work with buyers coming from all over the country, and we absolutely love it because we were there too. And we'd love to talk through your situation. If this video gave you something real, please hit subscribe. We put out honest Cape Coral content every single week. And drop a comment below. Where are you thinking about moving from? Because we are genuinely curious. We hope you loved this video, and we'll see you in the next one.